Careful what you ask for. I went with my husband to a doctor appointment with a new doctor. My husband had various medical things going on at this point. One thing being he had very recently had all his teeth removed. We get in the office and my husband is embarrassed for one and in extreme pain. I was trying to help by answering some of the questions the doctor was asking. So the doctor says, just one of you answer. Oh, no problem. I just lean back against the wall behind my husband and start looking around. The doctor realizes that he can't understand what my husband is saying without teeth. Tears of joy rolling on the floor, laughing tears of joy. He instantly looks to me for an answer and I look directly at him and look away. It takes 4 times for my husband to repeat himself before he gets understood. There were probably a dozen more questions that needed answered. It was a joy to watch him squirm. It was a great doctor visit for me after being told he didn't need my input. Be careful what you ask for, doc. Tears of joy rolling on the floor, laughing tears of joy. I'm married and if it is an important appointment, I'm there. I love my husband. And he will do the automatic, I'm fine thing. At which point I roll my eyes and start going down the laundry list of concerns. He chuckles and calls me his memory. There is a reason married men live longer, and me remembering his medical information accurately is one of his. There is nothing wrong with going to an appointment with someone for support as long as they consent. My dad is practically deaf. If my mom didn't go with him to answer the doctor's questions, nothing would ever get accomplished. I go with my girlfriend because if she's in too much pain, it gets really hard for her to talk. Having me there to verbalize things for her has been a help. Doc needs to GTF over himself. It's a new patient, he has no idea if they've had a stroke, are neurodivergent and have trouble expressing themselves, or are just more comfortable having someone else there. Op proved her point. But after the fact I would have shut him down pretty hard. And making sure that there was a nurse or someone else in the room as a witness. My parents are up in the last 10% of their lives and easily get confused. Whenever they have an appointment, one of the next generation goes along. We are driving anyhow. And not only participates in the conversation but records it on the phone and then shares it with the rest of us who are involved in their healthcare. Here's the thing, in dozens of interactions, the only one who has objected was a newbie doc. Nobody with a little experience objects. And most welcome the involved family. Docs need to recognize, and their business office will explain quickly if necessary, that they provide a service. It may be a really specialized service, but the patient, or their insurance carrier, is paying for it, and patients are entitled to communication in whatever form they choose. If it doesn't come through, I've dealt with healthcare providers professionally for the last 40 years. I have little tolerance for the arrogance of those who think they are better than others just because they have some letters of the alphabet after their names. My old doctor had a very thick South African accent, and for the life of me, I tried and I could not get what he was saying when it came to medical words. The everyday stuff like, hello and how are you, I got. But had to take my partner with me to get him to translate or answer. Didn't help that I'm half deaf in one ear, and that was the side he was always on 'cause of his office setup. Haha. I have Asperger's syndrome and I have my mom come to my specialist appointments for moral support, and she can answer questions when I get flustered. I used to have to take my mom to her APPTS and answer all of the questions due to her having Parkinson's. On the flip side, I became very ill at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, being inpatient for a month. After discharge I had to have a caregiver at home who drove me to appointments but also went into APPTS with me because I couldn't remember everything. I'm laughing. I got hit on the head with a golf ball and have lost some of my hearing, and one ear is not correctable. I answer the questions I hear and say, "What? Could you repeat that?" a few XS, and then let my wife answer. No doctor has ever told me only to answer. Some people go on power trips. You handled this well. My wife is an LPN and very in tune with my stupid self. She goes with me to most appointments now. If I was a doctor, I wouldn't want the partner of a patient answering for them either. This was a terrible post. So you made your husband repeat himself while he was in pain? You really owned the doctor there. Based on what you wrote, I don't see why he deserved that. He was asking for one of you to speak at a time? If so, couldn't you have just taken over and helped out instead of being obnoxious? Or did he specifically want your husband to speak, in which case it doesn't even make sense for you to make this post? Sounds like you were kind of just being rude for no reason. In fairness, did the doctor know that your husband had all his teeth removed, which could impact his speaking? My concern here would be, you really need the doctor to be on your side and helpful. Don't annoy them, even if it's to make a point. I go with my sweetie because the doctor would never get anything out of him due to the "I'm fine" syndrome. I might have been known to email the doctor a list of things to ask him about in the past. Edit. Looking innocent. I usually go with my dad, 84, on doctor's appointments. English is not our first language, and my dad sometimes misunderstands the questions or the instructions that the doctor provides. I'm also the oldest of 7 children, and my siblings are constantly asking me about his health. The doctors I've dealt with have had no problem dealing with me and only defer to me when they needed clarity. Not too malicious as written. The doctor didn't tell you to shut up. He asked that only one of you talk. If your husband has that much trouble, I'd expect you guys would talk ahead of time and decide that you'll do the talking. Or that during the visit you'd ask your husband and from then on you talk.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.